Hi there, landscapers!
We are constantly trying to improve and try out new creative things. A part of this is also learning new tools. And lately, Sonia has been into watercolors.
I think it's an amazing technique, and today we're gonna show you 6 basic tips that helped me getting started with watercolor.
Before we dive into it, we want to ask you one thing. Please let us know in the comments below which drawing or painting technique you would be interested to learn in the future. This helps us a lot so we know which kind of videos to produce for you.
So now, let's get started. The first tip is pick the right paper. Papers for drawing with watercolors are heavy papers. Sometimes they are even labeled as aquarelle papers. Why heavy papers? Because we'll be using a lot of water. If you're going to be using a thin paper, it's just going to wrinkle and the colors might even bleed through. That's why it's a good idea to use 200 gram paper or heavier. Watercolor papers usually have a rougher texture to catch more water, but if you're going to use it for mixed media and also draw on it with a pen, better go for a smooth surface.
Tip number 2. Picking the right watercolors. Watercolors come in different forms and shapes. You can get a set for a few dollars or you can pay $100 for it. In general, the better the colors, the higher the price. Why is that? Because better watercolors have more pigment and less additives mixed into them. We made a quick test to show you the difference between watercolors from different price ranges. You can notice how the left one is quite opaque because of the chalk mixed with it, and how the right one is the clearest and the most vibrant.
Tip number 3. Brushes. The most important thing to consider when picking brushes is the shape and the size. There are small and big brushes, round and flat ones. The tips are either synthetic or natural, made of animal hair. Picking the size and form depends on the level of detail you plan to do. For bigger surfaces, use bigger or flat brushes, and for detail, use smaller brushes. A safe bet would be to go with a medium-sized brush with a precise tip. Also, a personal tip, water brushes are brushes that can be filled with water. In that way, you don't need a glass of water to dip into. We use them a lot on our travels when sketching on the go.
Tip number 4. Water. Water is definitely the hero of this story. Without water, it would be rather hard to use the watercolors. And the moment when you first dip a brush into a glass of water is already worth giving watercolors a try by itself. I mean, look. Isn't that amazing? The important thing to consider is applying the right amount of water on the paper. If the water is staying on the paper surface like a puddle, you've overdone it. The colors will spread uncontrollably.
Tip number 5. Basic watercolor techniques. Now that we know the tools, let us look at how to actually paint with watercolors. Here, we'll show you 3 basic techniques you can use. The first is the wet on wet technique. First, use a brush to soak the paper with clear water. Be careful to apply the right amount. The surface should be glossy. Then, apply a wash of color on still wet paper. This technique is great for mixing colors and applying colors evenly to one surface. Keep in mind that this technique works only with heavy watercolor paper. The second technique is wet on dry. It means applying a wash of color on a dry paper. This technique is also good for details. It's also great if your paper isn't as heavy or if you're sketching quickly, because it doesn't take so long for the colors to dry. And the final technique is dry on dry. For it, you use an almost dry brush with a bit of wet color. A brush stroke leaves out white spaces, which is great for creating textures. You don't need to become an expert in these techniques. Just being mindful about what are you using at one point will improve your work significantly.
Our final tip for working with watercolors is patience. Patience is generally our tip for many things in the creative sphere or in life. A common problem with painting with watercolor is bleeding from one color into another. This can be quite frustrating. Also looks awful. To avoid this, wait that one surface dries before you go on to coloring the one next to it.
So we hope this will give you a solid base for starting drawing with watercolors. And for all future videos, please subscribe with the bell.
See you next week.
And keep on drawing. Bye. Tip number 3, brushes.